I lived to please others, until I forgot who I was. I used to think I was a good person. I was always on time, always listening, and always ready to help anyone who needed it. Whether it was a friend calling at 2 a.m. to cry about a breakup or a coworker asking me to handle a task nobody else wanted. I never said no. I was scared of being seen as selfish, unfriendly, or worse, not good enough to be loved. I don't know when I became that person. The kind of person everyone could rely on except for myself. Maybe you've been there too. Agreeing to go to a party you had no interest in, texting "I'm sorry" when you did nothing wrong, or saying yes to overtime because you were afraid your boss would think you were lazy. If that sounds familiar, then you might also be a people pleaser. Someone who lives to make everyone happy except for themselves. And that can kill you. Not in a dramatic way, but slowly, like a single drop of water hitting a stone every day, eroding your will, eroding your identity, and finally leaving you feeling like you're no one at all. I started to realize this when I was 27, while I was working at a media company. I was the star employee, always taking on the difficult projects, always the first to arrive and the last to leave, always smiling even when a client was yelling at me. People loved me. My boss trusted me. I was the first person my friends called when they needed a good person. But inside there was a void, deep and cold. Every morning I woke up feeling like I was putting on a mask. I would ask myself, if I disappeared tomorrow, would anyone genuinely care? Or would they just be missing someone to do their work for them? I used to think, I just need to try harder, be kinder. People will love me if I'm just better. But the harder I tried, the more I felt like I wasn't enough. I smiled more, agreed more, helped more, and felt myself slowly running on empty. I remember it so clearly. One day, after finishing a brutal project that no one else would take, I got an email from my boss. "Good job. But next time, try to get it done faster." Not a single thank you. Not one, "Are you okay?" I don't know why, but I just broke down. Right there in the office restroom, I sank to the floor and cried like a child. It wasn't because of his words. It was because I realized, for so long I had given up everything in return for nothing. Growing up, I was taught that kindness is a virtue, and it is. But no one taught me how to distinguish between kindness and self-destruction in the name of pleasing others. No one taught me that saying no doesn't make you a bad person. I realized that what I was truly afraid of wasn't disappointing others. It was facing my own fear of being abandoned, rejected, and seen as not good enough. The people-pleaser syndrome isn't a sign of being a good person. It's a sign of past trauma. As I started to dig deeper into my feelings, I went back to my childhood memories. I was a child who was scared of making my mom sad and scared of my dad getting angry. I was scared of being told off for not being good when I voiced what I wanted. I learned that to be loved, I had to be obedient. I had to make others happy. I had to be quiet. And I carried that belief with me all through my adult life. One evening, a moment changed me forever. I stumbled upon a video of a psychologist who said, "You don't have to please everyone. You just have to make peace with yourself first." I replayed that sentence a dozen times. It was as if, for the first time in my life, someone had given me permission to choose myself. I started asking the hard questions. If I say no, will people still love me? If I'm no longer the always available one, do I still have value? And most importantly, if I don't live for others, who will I live for? I didn't have the answers right away, but I knew I had to start over. And that journey, from living for acceptance to accepting myself, is the most important one I have ever taken. I want to tell you exactly what happened next. How I started saying no. How I lost a few relationships but found myself. And the things I learned that I wish someone had told me sooner. But before we continue, I want you to remember this. You are not a bad person for putting yourself first. You are someone who knows how to love yourself. And that is the beginning of every healthy relationship. When I started saying no, the world didn't collapse like I feared. Honestly, I was terrified. The first time I turned down a request from a close friend, my hands were shaking. My heart was pounding, my throat was dry, as if I was about to cause some kind of catastrophe. He texted, "Hey, can you help me finish this proposal by Friday?" The deadline is super tight. The old me would have said yes instantly, without a second thought, without asking myself if I was already exhausted. But this time I slowly typed back, "Sorry, I'm completely overloaded this week. I can't help this time." Then I stared at the screen, waiting for the disappointment, the cold shoulder, waiting for him to block me. But his reply was simply, "Okay, no worries. Thanks anyway." And I was still alive. The friendship was intact. No one was angry. No one hated me. There was no catastrophe. There was just a new and very strange feeling washing over me. I had just protected myself. Isn't it strange? We always imagine the worst-case scenario when we do something for ourselves. We think people will get angry, that they'll leave, that they'll call us selfish. But the truth is, most people don't care that much. And if they do get mad, it's a chance for you to see clearly which relationships only exist as long as you keep them happy. I started practicing saying no more often. No to staying late for unpaid overtime. No to social events I didn't want to attend. No to people who only reached out when they needed something. And you know what? The hardest part wasn't saying no to others. It was saying no to the old version of myself, the version that craved acceptance, even if it meant sacrificing my own well-being. One evening, I sat alone in my quiet room, looking through my phone's contact list. I realized there were people I had been texting first, consistently, for 3 years. They only replied when they needed something, but I never stopped, because I was scared they'd forget me, scared of being abandoned. I thought, if I stop trying, will they even want to stay? And yes, when I stopped, they disappeared. Not a single text to check in. No explanation. Cried. But not because they left. I cried because I realized I had given so much for people who were never really there to begin with. I started setting boundaries. I stuck a small note next to my computer monitor that read, "Not everyone has to like you, but you have to like yourself." I wrote down the things I truly wanted. Forgotten hobbies, limits I'd never dared to voice. And slowly, I began to live like a human being, not like a customizable version programmed to please others. The interesting thing is, when I started living more authentically, I attracted more authentic people. I remember one afternoon, I declined an invitation to lunch with some colleagues because I just wanted some quiet time to rest. A new girl at the company whispered to me, "Actually, I didn't want to go either, but I was afraid of being judged. Seeing you say no made me feel so relieved." And we started connecting from there. Not with small talk, but with sincerity. No trying to impress each other. No trying to please. Just being truly present. What I never expected was that ceasing to be the always available person didn't make me lose love. It helped me find real love. Love didn't come from people who wanted me to bend to their will. It came from people who saw the real me and chose to stay. I know you might be hearing this and thinking, "Yeah, easier said than done." Get it? I really do, because I used to be afraid to believe it myself. I used to be terrified of being left behind if I was no longer the nice one. I worried that if I didn't make others happy, no one would want to be with me. But you know what? If you have to trade your own peace of mind to keep a relationship, that isn't love. It's dependency. And dependency always comes with pain. I'm not perfect. I still have days when the old habits creep back in. Days when I feel like I need to do more to be loved. But now I know how to stop myself. I know how to ask, am I doing this out of love or out of fear? And I've learned to step back, sit still, breathe deeply, and choose again. True freedom comes when you stop trying to control how other people feel. You are not responsible for their happiness or sadness. You are only responsible for your own authenticity. And I'll tell you the most wonderful thing. Something I never thought I'd have. When I stopped playing a role, I started truly living. I used to think strength was about always smiling, always showing up, always being fine, and always knowing how to make others happy. I used to think a good person was someone who never made anyone sad, never disappointed anyone, and never refused anyone. And I also thought that if I stopped playing that role, I would lose everything. But the truth is, I didn't lose everything. I only lost what wasn't mine to begin with. There's a moment I will never forget. One rainy morning, I stood in front of the mirror. No makeup, no trying to fix my hair, no practicing a smile. I just looked at myself. For a long time. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to become someone. I just felt that I was enough. Not perfect, not great, but enough to live, to love, and to be loved. I started to live more slowly. Not the chill aesthetic you see on social media, but living consciously. Placing a hand on my chest each morning and asking myself, what do I need today? Who am I? If I stop trying to be loved, I learned to say thank you instead of I'm sorry. For example, instead of I'm sorry I can't help, I now say, thank you for understanding that I need to protect my time. I learned to pause in the middle of a draining conversation and ask, do I really want to continue this? I learned to enjoy my own silence in a crowded room, without feeling invisible. I no longer tried to fill every gap with humor or fake kindness. When you live true to yourself, you realize that not everyone will stay. And that's okay. Because when some doors close, new ones, new people, new genuine connections, will find their way to you. I've met friends who don't need me to do anything for them. They just need me to be present as I am. I fell in love with someone who doesn't love me because I'm pretty, smart, or useful, but because I'm real with all my beautiful cracks and flaws. I am not a perfect success story. I still have days where I feel broken. I still have nights where I toss and turn with guilt after saying no to someone. But now I can hold that feeling instead of letting it control me. I learned how to set boundaries without guilt. A boundary isn't a wall. It's a door with a lock. You have the right to choose who comes in and when. If you're listening to this story and thinking, but I don't know where to start, I want you to try one small thing, just one tiny thing. The next time someone asks you to do something, don't answer right away. Pause for 5 seconds, breathe, and ask yourself, do I really want to do this? That's it. One moment of honesty with yourself. That is the first seed you plant to relearn how to respect your own feelings. I'm not writing this for you to follow like a formula. I'm writing and telling this story so you know that you are not alone. There are so many of us who have lived for fear, who have tried too hard to be loved, who have lost ourselves to keep someone else. And then they realize, no one out there can give you the feeling of being enough. Not until you allow yourself to believe that you already are. Today, I no longer need to please everyone. I choose the people who matter. I choose the things that matter. And most importantly, I choose myself. I don't want to live a life where I'm a stranger to myself while being friendly to the rest of the world. I want to live a life where I know exactly who I am, what I need, and what I deserve. And you deserve that too. Living for others can kill you. Slowly, but a little bit each day. You will start to fade. Learn to live for yourself. It isn't selfish. It's love, a healthy, bounded, and rooted kind of love. And if you need someone to give you permission, then let me say this to you with all my heart. You don't have to please everyone. You just have to make peace with yourself. And start there. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment. Tell me, what have you lost yourself for? And if you're just starting your journey to live authentically, I'm here with you. Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Because someone out there might need to hear this, and you could be the one to bring it to them. Are you ready to stop living for everyone else? And start living for yourself? Start with one small no today, and you will see the magic happen.